Hello, and welcome back to AntsGaming Street. This is your host Anthony, back with another new world video. This is the developers blog update version 2 or 2.0 from the previous develop update. But before we jump straight into it, make sure you guys hit that like, hit the subscribe, and also leave a comment section down below. Are you guys looking forward to these new current issues that they will be updating and fix? So as we jump into it, server transfers has been the hot topic as of late. They've mentioned it for the past couple of weeks, but we haven't quite seen any possible opening at this stage. So server transfers is the top priority for the developers. They're looking to address the edge case that have been blocked players from using their free transfer tokens, which is pretty much what they're talking about here. Is there is invisible orders. So if you had an invisible orders, you will have to contact developers, which roughly will take 24 to 48 hours before you can server transfer. While the vast majority of players were able to transfer without issue, there is a population of players who have been unable to server transfer due to the ghost contract, which what I have mentioned. Please keep in mind that they do take up to 24 to 48 hours for you to transfer if you do have the ghost contract, so please be patient. They are working on it. So the first round of server transfer provided a lot of lessons for us to learn from, and we apologize have been inexpensive of some of you joining your friends on a server of your choice. So that is it. Regional transfers. Our team is gauging interest in cross-region transfer. If you're interested in moving your character to a different available region, for example, your character is in EU Central, but you would like to transfer to the world in US East, please add your details to this forum. And if that's one of you guys, feel free to do so. I don't think this really concerns any AU players, especially for myself, just because there is only really one server that has good ping for us. And server merge. This has been an absolutely hot topic as well. When a server transfers merge happening, because I know the previous server that I had joined, there has been a lot of issue regarding to the fact that, the server's dead, you can't do any PvP content, you can't do any elite runs, and it does get a little bit boring, especially when all the things that you can only really do is just, farm, harvest, fish, and whatnot, and farm a whole bunch of materials for you to get ready for the server transfers. But that's a good thing for you because you don't have to compete with a whole bunch of people, but it does get very tedious over time. So they need to do further testings on their technologies in order to ensure that enclosed beta, which caused a persistent issue that has since been resolved. When we are ready to take this technology to your world, there are a few things that we look into in order to determine the world is candidate for a merge, including but not limited. Tactical worlds are merged within a world set. This allows us to streamline the merge process by removing the requirement to check for multiple characters per player. This is why the only one character is allowed per world set, as well as checking language recommendation. But there is more nuisance than these. There is more nuisance to these merges. Once we've identified a world as a candidate for merge, we compare it to the existing world by reviewing elements such as faction reputations, the overall populations, set found in the most optimal partner world. While we cannot guarantee exact matches, we make every attempt to choose worlds for merge that are complementary. So there's a whole bunch of criteria that they're looking to do before they even server merge. But in the meantime, I will make another video on things that you should do if you're in one of those dead world servers. So please make sure you guys hit the subscribe and hit the like for new world content as I release them throughout the week. So players on world identified for merge will be informed in advance of the plan. Players with characters on the merge candidate will not lose their progress, so you'll be keeping everything pretty much the same thing when you server transfer, so nothing to worry about there. Players on worldwide are not impacted other than an influx of players on the server. Worldwide territory ownership persists after the merge. Companies are compensated 50k, which is 3.3x the cost of world for the loss of territory ownership due to the world merge. World X characters are located to World Y. Characters, companies, housing, golds, and own items remain intact, but territory ownership will not persist in the new world. At this time, we are not offering any transfers to players after world has been merged. This position may change as we learn more. So there's a whole bunch of things I need to make sure, because we don't want to end up having a bunch of exploited issues and bugs, and there's already enough bugs there is at the moment. So that is it. Wars can't be declared issue. There have been a few reports of companies not being able to declare war despite feeling they had to earn over 10% in threshold. We recently fixed the bug where if many players from a faction all turned a PvP mission at the same time, the influence was applied to the race, but not the credit to the company. That fix seems to have resolved most cases of this. If you are aware of the other issues, please let us know. We are also looking to delaying or displaying a company contribution percentage so there is more transparency. I think this is pretty good. At the moment, I'm not doing too many PvPs, but if you are one of those guilds that are doing a lot of those PvP missions in order to take territories, this would be a very transparent thing. I think this is fantastic and leading into the correct way. Next topic is luck. Thanks for the questions about feedback round to your luck system. I know this is one of the things that I wish had been more transparent. I'm having a lot of issues in terms of like determining, okay, how does luck work? Now I'm wearing full luck gear. Am I getting a percentage, or what percent am I getting this legendary drop? So there are two ways we interpret luck: an overall scale that you can think of as a ratio when things occur or a percentage change to occur. And then the second thing is a relative scale that has a movable odds range based on other values we add into it. Things like enemies and searchable containers use method 1. Above, when anything in their drop list can occur and your luck stat increases the likelihood of you getting the less common items in the list. In New World loot model, drop tables are divided up into overall rarities, with rarer groupings of items living higher on the roll table than more common items. There are the entire sets of items that drops less frequent than other sets, and the equipment is a great example of how we do this. There are collections of equipment that live at different general probabilities, a common set, family set, or an elite set. Rarer still are the more complex specific expedition sets and named items. Common items have the broadcast possible perk roll variety, family sets have the from the gold bar, enemies have more narrow perk rolls and even higher chance to roll perks. Expedition items always roll some perks, and named items come with preset perks. Luck doesn't increase your chance to get higher gear roll scores or roll more perks, but it does increase your chance of seeing item drops that have higher chance of rolling bonus. So does that make sense now? So having more luck gear doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a higher chance of rolling higher gear score. It just means that you will roll more perks, but it does increase your chance of seeing item drops that have higher chance of rolling those bonuses. So that is what luck gear is all about. Gatherers, by not finishing news method 2. So gatherings such as mining, logging, harvesting, anything like that uses the second method, which means that as your luck stats increases, it gradually enables new items to drop from the table. This means that if your luck values are totally unmodified, these are some of the items and tables that it is impossible to obtain without a bonus. This is particularly useful for tables or tables that give you more things than they roll high. If we were to use with or other tables, it would actually decrease or even eliminate your chance of getting items in the lower roll chances of the table. So we don't do that. We set up these tables to open up more as your base luck grows to avoid inundating lower skill level players with less common items than they would have to use until progressing much further. Additionally, we don't use percentage in our data notation. We use integer based rolling ranges to apply probability weights to the chances of specific things dropping. For instance, let's roll the range of regular tree is 1,000 because it is, but somewhere above that range, say 105,000, is a chance to get a fish. Trees don't drop fish. This is just an example. When you chop down the tree with the under-modified luck, you have 0% chance to get a fish, but if your luck was modified to say 10,000, your roll change increases from 0 to 1,000 to 10,000 to 110,000, which gives you a roughly 5% chance to get that fish when you drop down the tree. So that is pretty much discussing how, for example, if you're not still confused about the fish analogy, it's pretty much what they're saying. So you have a 0 to 100,000% chance to get just a normal tree, but you don't have the chance to chop down, say, wildwood or bar vine. But if you you add a modifier to your luck instance, you get a 5% chance to increase your probability of rolling that legendary wildwood or bar vine. So this is how they explain it. If you increase your luck by 5,000, you should have a 0.001% chance at the fish. That's why our luck increases for things like food and equipment are pretty chunky, so we avoid cases where your luck value is stuck in the unfortunate ultra low odds of things state. With gatherables in particular, increasing your granting skill adds bonus luck to your roll. With level 200 granting a total bonus of 2,000 to your base roll. There aren't any cases in the game where not having a luck bonus will prevent you from getting item as long as you associate the trading skill is 200. So, you can pretty much get the trade skill to 200 and you can still get the legendary item. You can use the food and equipment to further increase your drop rates or any other enabled items for you to progress earlier. So that's really up to you, but you still have the chance of getting it regardless if you don't have that luck. Have that luck item, but you still have the 200% or the 200 trading skill. Once again, incentivizing players to join a less dominant faction to help balance factions. We currently have two mechanisms in place. We have discussed this a couple of days ago. First things first is when you switch factions from 120 days, they have changed switching factions from 120 days to 60 days now, so you only have to wait 2 months instead of a 3 months waiting period. So that's say if you want to go from Syndicate to Covenant, you have a 60-day cooldown before you can change again. But also, you can't just join a very strong dominant faction on that server too, so you have to join the other two options. So it just really depends on how they're going to set that up. Our stance on exploits. So exploitations have been a huge thing in this game. You know, a lot of people do it, and you know, there are, I guess, punishments that they do offer, especially in the Genesis role, where if you consistently kill the monsters and you keep spawning that, you will get banned, and the ban will eventually increase from 1 day to 2 days to 3 days to eventually permanent ban. So you don't want to be exploiting these exploitations and don't want to break the game. So they are doing a lot of things in terms of people who are exploiting these bugs. But anyway, we could quickly go and dive deep into it. So, a bug is when a game mechanic doesn't work as intended or described in the game. Bugs are things that happen by accidents to players, and we aren't interested in suspending or banning in the case of accidents. A bug becomes an exploit when players use it intentionally, repeatedly, or both to obtain advantage over a normal game behavior. In cases where it doesn't seem very clear to the average player that something is a bug, when possible, we'll specifically identify particular bugs and use as an exploit to warn they will be acted upon. An example might be a spawn bug. Let's say a particular creature that only spawns once an hour. A player stumbles upon a sequence of action that causes the creature to spawn instantly. The first time this happened is a bug. But if a player starts going through the sequence many times to spawn the creature and kills it for loot, they've become an exploitive, using the bug to gain faster loot as the regular player would. If you have to ask many questions past this common sense layer, how many times what is the consequence layer, then you're likely in an exploit territory. There are too far many variations here to cover with a blanket rule. So if you do it one time, you know, that is okay. That is an accident. But if you consistently do it and the system picks it up, you will get thrown a permanent ban. Not a temporary, you will be suspended temporary for the first, then switch to banning if the pair repeats over and over again. There are particularly arranges a case where we might fully ban even in the first event if we felt there was sufficient evidence in that it was done deliberately. You don't want to consistently do it. So yeah, so that is their stance on exploitations. Quests and quest design, we've been gathering data and feedbacks on quests and storylines since launch, and we appreciate everyone who shared their thoughts in the forums and social media. The most sufficient area of concern we've identified are the lack of variety of quests in dynamic quests that require players to undertake long travel times in ways in which our storytelling in individual quests and across the whole of the game could be more compelling. Additionally, there have been several specific issues with long spawn times and excessive difficulties with some named enemies in both the main story and side quests. The good news is that many improvements are already in progress, a sample of some of the efforts underway right now. New task types integrated into the existing questions-based storyline, wave events, destructive objects, and some light transversal mechanics, more enemies varieties, and improved spawn scaling. So, you know, in terms of new enemies, that have introduced some of, like, you know, I guess King Arthur kind of warriors and all that kind of new particular mobs will be introduced to the game, new alligators, and a whole bunch of things that's going to be introduced into the game, as mentioned in the previous developers blog. Major enemies in the main story quest series adjust to more pro difficulty. Example, World Gunner. World Gunner was absolutely hard, I tell you. New quests and quest givers, new and improved quests in higher level zones, some quest gating improvements to allow for more optimized travel times, new presentation methods to highlight major story moments in the game. We've also been seen releasing new quests to progress the main through the story down with Tempest, along with some hints about where the main story will go in the future. So I'm pretty sure that we're referring to the Brimstone Stand, because there have been some quests that, you know, that indicated stuff about Brimstone Stand. So I don't know if that's going to be the next tutorial or when that will be released. Further into trade skill quests, on over several updates, we're adding new quests and storylines centering on player trade skill. Advancing skills like mining, leatherwork, and cooking will unlock a new quest at various thresholds. The quest queue for those will be located in a new camp and outposts spread throughout the Anthem, and along with new skill related storylines that offer special skill enhancing rewards. So I don't know what these special skills are, so it looks like they're bringing a lot of quest lines. For example, like when you max out a weapon legendary to 20, you will get a quest in order to grab a 580. I guess this will be the same thing for the trades quest skill, but will give you offer or bonus, I guess either bonus in crafting materials or something like that, but we'll find out when we get further details. Alright, so weapon mastery quests. Similarly, we'll be rolling out a new series of quests associated with each weapon type. These opportunities to track down and meet with masters of your chosen type will lead to a new personal story and challenge for each weapon, of course, new unique weapon rewards. So they're adding a new weapon mastery quest. So I'm guessing they're not going to be 580, and they're going to be maybe 600 or something like that. Who knows? We will find out. But it's, it's pretty good that they're doing this. They're consistently updating content into the game, which is good, and trying to fix bugs at the same time. So we're just all going to be patient in terms of when they're going to be releasing this out. First things first, we're going to make sure that everything is on point before, you don't want things to be mucking up the game as it already has. New expedition features releasing in the coming months will also introduce new stories and quests to accompany them. These quests will cover all new dynamics we've developed in the recent months. So there's going to be a new expedition. There already has been several data mines in terms of what expeditions are coming out. I believe there's 6 or 7 of them that's going to be coming out roughly between 55 and 60 zone. I think they're going to be a little bit higher as well. Yeah, so we'll leave that at that. Representation and character customization design. We have talked about aesthetics, especially for characters and play gears. We'll just skip that for now. Nothing important there. Minimap. I know a lot of people have been complaining about minimaps showing up in the game itself, because you don't know where a certain thing is. Like, even for myself here, when I go to Bribewell, I don't exactly know where it is. I gotta consistently press the M map to find it out. So the minimap can show players' positions, show focusing group as we do on the compass, show some nodes planners if they've unlocked the node via trade skill. At this time, we confirm that we have not banned anyone from using the minimap mod from Overwolf. In the future, we may change our position on this and decide to add a minimap or change our position in the following Overwolf. If we were to change, we would like to give plenty of notice along with this designated grace period where we would not ban players for the continued use, but will take action after your grace period has ended. So at the moment, Overwolf is a program that you can use to add a minimap to your gameplay. At the moment, it is currently whitelisted, which is a lot of people are using at the moment, but they're looking to implement this. But once they implement it, you will have a grace period for you to uninstall it, get rid of it before the the wave ban concern comes. All right. Company concerns. One of the key elements of New World Play is the ability to change the world. To achieve that, we have given players a lot of power to form an organization and take territories and manage town policies. But with that power comes great risk that bad actors will use that power for self-game. We've tried to provide guardrails to ensure those bad actors don't create too much loss. Cap player coin is to 500k, ability to get set withdrawal limits for lower ranks, but here have been a few cases of it happening recently. In the future, we would like to give players more information like company ledger and more ways to control access, like ability to choose company permissions. This should give players better tools to find an event loss. So what are the company concerns about is pretty much discussing how some clan leaders pretty much create a company, everyone gets donations, and they pretty much take like 100k and then they bolt to another server. So that was the trying to do. They're trying to counter that and prevent those things that are happening. Combat responsiveness along with bug fixing and tuning plans for wars territory control. The team is starting on some next steps for combat in New World. Our initial focus will be in weapon swapping, dodging, cancelling, and attack import windows. So it looks like some weapons are going to be nerfed, combat response are going to be fixed. We are currently working on weapon swap responsiveness and making sure that it is more consistent throughout all of our attacks. There are many times that you think that you've swapped weapons, but you end up attacking with the current equipped weapon instead. We are working to fix this situation and expand when you're able to swap the weapons. Along with weapon swap, we are looking to dodge, cancel windows, and attack input timing during recovers of all our attacks. Weapon swap dodges, In addition to the changes to combat responsive, we're planning on balance updates in a future patch as well. Weapon balance patch. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. They are going to be changing a lot of things in terms of weapon balancing changes. For our November release, we have done a large tuning pass over all our weapons and upgrades. Our goal to release was to boost abilities in weapon trees that we felt were being underutilized while addressing a few individual overperforming abilities. Here's a comprehensive list of updates that are currently in PTR will be able for November release. So this is just the beginning of it. We will discuss it in a future video in terms of weapon balances that will be occurring and what I think the meta will be. Weapon armor perks. We are aware that some perks in the game that are not functioning as intended. We will be addressing these in November monthly releases. PTR once again, Void Gauntlet changes from PTR, so they've made a minor change. And crafting gathering, we are aware that some rare materials needed for crafting dangerous items are dropped at a very low rate. These include beeswax, runic trends, embossed wrapping, we have an upcoming patch that will address most of these items, and beeswax will be addressed in a later update. We're also aware of the issues will craft magical items, the arcane skill that prevents them from being crafted at 600 Gearscore. This is due to some of the ingredients not applying Gearscore bonuses. We have fixed this in a future update by introducing an additional core material requirement that can be used to add additional Gearscore range required to reach 600. So the whole bunch of things are being fixed here, so I'm looking forward to that. Crafting and gathering, looks like we're going to be able to craft those hidden recipe 600 Gearscore in the up and coming weeks once they pretty much release it. So for those who don't know, the reason why we aren't able to get these, edge handguard embossed wrapping is because they are located in the game, but because the loot gear is so low and the probability of getting them is so minuscule, there's no chance for you to obtain it. So that's pretty much why they've become non-existent, even though they're in the game, but not really in the game, if that kind of makes sense. But anyway, I'll be releasing a whole bunch of more videos relating to this topic of developer blogs, so make sure you guys hit that like, hit the subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.